For most of us, we spend our entire lives trying not to get pregnant. Any sex education we have is on contraception, not conception. So when we do decide it's time for a baby, we have no knowledge of how we actually do that. And it's not as easy as what we've been led to believe. You can't just get pregnant anytime during your cycle. And so how do we actually know when we can get pregnant? So this is what we know as identifying the fertile window. So contrary to popular belief, out of your entire cycle, there are only about 3 days we're actually really fertile, and that is before we ovulate. So unfortunately, the way that our medical system works is that you never actually get taught this, even if you are trying to conceive. So generally what will happen is that you go to your doctor and say, I'm trying to conceive, and then they'll just say, right, go away and just try for 12 months, and if you're not pregnant by that stage, then we'll look at other systems like IVF, without anyone actually delving in to understand, well, were you actually getting the timing right? Were you actually having sex at the right time? Or was that the reason? And I think this is a really interesting area, and you'll be fascinated by some of the research that's coming out of Australia, where a woman called Dr. Kerry Hampton, who was my teacher for my natural fertility education, she did some research on women and couples going through that IVF, and to be in the IVF clinics they had to have been trying for 12 months, and she wanted to know whether they did actually understand when they were ovulating. And when she asked, she found that 68% of females thought that they could definitely tell when they were ovulating, but actually only 13% of them had the knowledge to actually identify that. So when we can say there is that possibly a huge reason for why they were in the IVF clinics in the first place was because they weren't accurately timing sex. So that's exactly why I've created this program. We use years of science-proven research and methods to help you detect your personal fertile window. This program is delivered to you combining both videos and PDFs into modules which take less than a week to learn, and then once you have the knowledge, it's only a few minutes a day to start tracking your cycle. This program is delivered to you in modules combining both videos and PDFs and other resources which take less than a week to learn, and then once you have the knowledge, it's only a few minutes a day to start tracking your cycle and interpreting it to find your window. We also have a group forum and regular Q&A sessions so that you can share your cycle charts with our trained fertility educators to give you peace of mind that you are finding your fertile window correctly. We also answer all of those nitty-gritty frequently asked questions, like what about painful sex or endometriosis? What the science is behind this method, how your hormones change over a cycle and how they create the signs and symptoms we're looking for, when you should be looking at sperm analyses, and even if there are any sexual positions that help improve your chance of conceiving. The other thing is that your period or cycle does not have to be regular. So many people think that they have to have a regular period to be able to then identify when you're ovulating, but that's not true. All we need is for you to have a period. It doesn't need to be 28 days, it doesn't need to even be 35 days, it can be 40 or 50 days. But if you're getting a period, that means you are ovulating at some point during your cycle, and we just need to identify that. But we also need to identify that the second half of your cycle, after you've ovulated, is long enough as well. That's the other thing that can go wrong. And by using our method that we teach you in this program, you can identify both of those. So the reason we can't just use apps is because the apps just predict the times. That assumes that you ovulate exactly halfway, or sort of 14 days before your period, or halfway through your cycle if you've got a 28-day cycle. But actually only 13% of people do that. So if you're sick of peeing on ovulation sticks, not knowing if they're correct, and being frustrated month after month with negative results, then I can't encourage you enough to join this program. After completing this, you'll know exactly how to understand your body and your fertile window so that you can finally get the timing right to conceive.